Liverpool conquered a mountain this week in the Champions League against Barcelona, but against Manchester City, when they needed to win, they certainly came up with their side of the bargain. Unfortunately, last day drama did not turn itself into heroics for Liverpool. City winning by a single point after their 4-1 win at Brighton. Stevie, what's your reaction?
When the game's kicked off, I had no expectation that Manchester City would do anything other than beat Brighton and Hove Albion. But I will tell you, for 60 seconds after Glenn Murray scored, I thought, you know what, maybe there's another miracle this week. We've had two already, maybe this would be the third, but it wasn't to be. 60 seconds it lasted, and then it was back down to earth, and Man City just rolled over Brighton for fun. The
sun was shining, wasn't it, at Anfield? The fans were out expectant. But really, beyond that, it was about pride for Liverpool as well. There's not a sense of, I mean, you tell me, was it more of a sense of disappointment that this didn't happen, or really with what's to come in 3 weeks' time?
No, not at all. Absolute disappointment. When you get so close and don't get the prize, I don't care who you are, it's deflating. It doesn't feel good. You know, you've gone through a season given absolutely every single thing you've had to come up short. Anybody worth the salt will feel disappointed and feel bad that they didn't win the Premier League. Now, I've got to say, the fans at the end of the game were absolutely magnificent, because the players, as I said, would be deflated, but the fans, you wouldn't have known. They stayed and they cheered and they clapped. And obviously part of that is because of what's going to happen in a couple of weeks' time in the Champions League final. But again, no medals at Anfield for the players, no trophy for the board, but no question, the fans, as usual, absolutely magnificent.
They've stepped up incredibly this year, Liverpool, and to be able to fight in the way that they have on two fronts must give you a lot of cause for optimism. I mean, just talking about how close they came without winning it, I mean, it's agonising, really. If we take a look at the closest margin of error here, to say, first of all, 97 points, that's one thing. Quite extraordinary. When you look at all of the teams around them who have managed that number of points before, of course, Liverpool, 98, winning the title. Man City, this year, winning the title. 100 points last year, City. But there as well, Spurs, Chelsea, Everton, all hitting that mark and winning the title. This season with Liverpool, the highest total ever for a runners-up since 3 points for a win came in the early 1980s.
Well, I hope Jurgen Klopp takes a little piece of the old Liverpool, and that is that 5 seconds after that final whistle goes, whether you win or whether you win the Premier League or whether you don't win the Premier League, your thoughts then go to next year. Because that's what used to happen. We would go around with them. We would go around with the trophy. We'd come back in the dressing room, and Ronnie Moran's first words would be, "Pre-season starts on July 1st. Do not be late." And guess what? You get to do this all over again. So when you win, you don't dwell on it, and when it doesn't quite work out, you don't dwell on it. Now is about thinking, what do we do so that we take the final step next year? That's what has to be thought about right now. Forgetting even the Champions League final. I think the next couple of days for Liverpool and the board in particular should be about, right, how do we make that next step? Let's not dwell on the fact we didn't get it. Let's not dwell on the fact we got 97 points. Yes, the fact that you played some great football. Yes, you won. You only lost one game all season. But again, how do you go about it? Right, why did we draw 7? That's the attention to detail that Liverpool should be thinking about right now as far as the Premier League next season.
What would you say they would have learned, or what should they be learning from those draws? So 7 draws really the costly part of it?
I think if you look across to Manchester City and figure out why they were a step ahead, it's because of the squad. I think their squad is bigger, and I think outside of the starting 11, the players they have coming on City are better. I think they also have more goal scorers. I said a couple of months ago that I thought, no question, City were favourites between then and the end of the season, because they have more goal scorers. And I think when you look at Liverpool's 7 draws, I think you can point to that. You know, Fergie used to say, defences win titles and goals win games. Well, in this era, that doesn't quite work, because Liverpool have just shown that. Defensively, they were, in my opinion, one of the best, or if not the best in the Premier League, but they didn't have enough goal scorers. I think that's what separated these two sides.
Do you think the final in Madrid will define the league season in a way? If you go and win that final, everyone's going to look at this as being absolutely incredible in terms of the challenge. If they lose that final, will people start to point the finger and say, I'm not sure we can get ourselves up again for a league challenge as good as the one we put in this year?
No, not at all. I think to lose the Champions League final would be devastating for everybody. But you know what? The only thing you know when you're involved in professional football is that somewhere down the line, you're going to fall off the cliff. I mean, it's just the way the game is. Now, I certainly hope Liverpool don't do that in the Champions League final. But if they do, then again, I'll go back to the old Liverpool. What do? You dust yourself off, you get back on the horse, and off you go again. And you forget about the past. Because when you win, people always say, well, you don't get anything for the past. So if you lose, you can learn from it, but don't dwell on the loss. So listen, regardless of what happens in the Champions League final, next season, Liverpool absolutely will be mounting the same challenge as they did this year. And Manchester City will have to be at their best again.
We hope that we'll have a challenge as good as this one next season. One can hope.
They will.
The Liverpool fans have to wait yet again. It's 29 years then, and counting, since they last tasted success as league champions of England. But my goodness, didn't they give it absolutely everything and come within literally inches of doing it this time around.